Wow. You know, my office looks right down on you, and I know it's a good crowd, but it's even bigger when I see it. I just want to tell you, I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud of America's Constitution, and I yearn for the day when we have an administration that will start following our Constitution again. We have such a brave and proud history of following the rule of law. That's been taken from us. Let's do everything we can to take back the rule of law and show the rest of the world what America really is. And when Congress last year committed an historic mistake by suspending the great writ of habeas corpus, not just for those confined at Guantanamo, but for millions of legal residents here in the United States, we ought to do two things. Restore the writ of habeas corpus and close Guantanamo. We should do both right away. And we would show the true face of America, of a good and great nation, if we'd close Guantanamo, if we'd restore habeas corpus, go back to the basic roots of America. Now today, we mark a day of action to restore law and justice. If you want to do that, restoring habeas corpus is the first but the most important step. It was recklessly undermined, as said just now in last year's Military Commissions Act. And for those who say we have to do this to make us safer, shame on you. Shame on you. For those who say we have to worry about terrorists, I go to work every day in a building that was marked for destruction by terrorists. I go there proudly. I go there happily. But I go there because I hope we can uphold our laws. Not run in fear, but uphold our laws. And what we did in eliminating habeas corpus, that was an action driven by fear. And I'll tell you, there was another example of that in World War II. They thought by locking up tens of thousands of loyal Japanese Americans, we'd make ourselves safer. We didn't make ourselves safer. We put a stain on America's reputation in the world. Let's not do it again. This is a time of testing. Future generations will look back to examine the choices we made during a time when security too often is used as a watchword to convince us to slacken our defense of liberty and the rule of law. Habeas corpus guarantees an opportunity for every one of you to go to court and challenge the abuse of power by the government. The Military Commissions Act rolled back these protections by eliminating that right permanently for any non-citizen labeled an enemy combatant, even someone who, quote, is awaiting that determination. They could await that determination in Guantanamo for the rest of their lives with no habeas corpus. That is truly un-American. And it goes beyond Guantanamo. It affects the 12 million lawful permanent residents in the United States today. It affects even those people who come as tourists to our land on a valid visa. But it affects people who are working as professors, who are working as scientists, people who work and pay taxes, who abide by our laws. And if they're doing that, shouldn't they be entitled to the same fair treatment as everybody else? You know, since last fall, and I was one of the few who voted against this law, but I've been talking about a nightmare scenario. Involves a hard-working legal permanent resident picked up on a tenuous factual basis who could be held with no ability to go to court to plead his or her innocence for years or decades. And last November, Just after enactment of these provisions, the Department of Justice, that's run by Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, with a not so subtle hand of the Vice President behind him. I'll say it again. But the Department of Justice confirmed this sad scenario in a legal brief submitted in federal court in Virginia. They said, and I had called them the Department of Injustice for saying this, they asserted that the Military Commissions Act allows the government to detain any non-citizen designated as an enemy combatant, even someone arrested and held in the United States, without giving that person any ability to challenge the detention in court. This is wrong. It is unconstitutional. It is un-American. And for those who tell you they have to do this to stand up for America, they're not standing up for America. They're destroying America by doing that. Let us stand up. Let us stand up for America and restore America's Constitution. That's standing up for America. And this is neither liberal nor conservative. David Keene, who's here today, head of the American Conservative Union, agrees this change betrays centuries of legal tradition and practice. But you know, the most powerful, for me at least, at last month's Senate hearing that I held on this was the testimony of Rear Admiral Donald Gooder. He was working in his office in the Pentagon on September 11, 2001. He saw his friends killed in that terrorist attack. And as he said, as we limit the rights of human beings, even those of the enemy, we become more like the enemy. That makes us weaker and imperils our valiant troops serving not just in Iraq and Afghanistan, but around the world. He was right. Whether you're a soldier of a great and good nation like ours, it's hard to defend the higher ground by taking the lower road. You can't do it. The world knows what our enemies stand for, but the world has to know what this great and good country has tried to stand up for and live up to in the best of times, but especially in the worst of times. So join me in a grassroots crusade to restore habeas rights. The elimination of these rights undermines, it doesn't strengthen our ability to achieve justice. It is from strength that America should defend our values and our way of life. It's from the strength of our freedoms, our constitutions, our rule of law that we shall prevail. So work with me on this. Restore America to America. Thank you.